the idea across, you know? Here, let me show this to you properly. I think it was out of frame. Out of the frames of your glasses, of course. So this is the foot drink. Now this over here, I was thinking, have you gotten into GMOs and sort of genetically modifying our crops to just produce caffeine on their own? Because I think that if you do that, then we could have a whole agricultural setup to offer. We could have a produce section, that just has caffeine in it. And that's a whole untouched market, right? Think of all of the people, all of like the almond moms, yes, hello, sir. Please come in, have a seat. Yes, I know you're my CEO and I'm just your barista. But I set up this meeting with you because I really wanted to go over a lot of different things, right? So yes, hello. You might not know me. You have very successful business. Yes, this coffee shop is very, very successful. Congratulations, by the way. I know you're the CEO, so I'm sure you're very, very proud. Oh, sorry. Yes, I do know you're a new hire. You're a new CEO, so you didn't really build this yourself. You just they brought you in, and now they're just paying you a lot of money. But you haven't really done anything, and you're not really doing very much. And now you're asking for opinions from the baristas. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. What I'm trying to say is that I have ideas for you. Okay, I think that since you're the new CEO, I need to get you to understand that there are just a few things that you need to know, just so that you understand what it's like on the ground, as it were. Like, what's it like to be a barista, and what options do people have, and what options should we potentially give people, right? This is all about coffee. This is a caffeine place. If you're going looking for caffeine free, this is not the place for you. But there are options that I think we're sorely lacking as a company. And I'm a team player. Yes, I did try to start a union a little bit ago, and you did fire everybody except for me to sort of separate me from the rest of the people that were in this establishment. But I don't hold that against you. Absolutely not. So I definitely think that this is going to be a really good meeting, and so that we can start fresh. I suppose you weren't the one that fired everybody. That was the previous CEO. So I may have just given you information about my unions, my union making. But you know what? It's a process. It's really not a problem. I've learned my lesson. Oh, union's bad. Oh no, yes, totally bad. Anyway, what I wanted to do is go over the options with you. Okay, so are you ready for that? Okay. Oh yes, I am prepared. I'm always prepared. Here are my options, just to sort of get you up to speed, as well as options that I feel like need to be added, right? So it's a mixture of some drinks that are already on the menu, but letting you know as the new CEO what kind of person would order that drink, and then other drinks that I think are lacking, that we don't have the options for, but I feel like there's a niche in the market that we're not grabbing, right? So how about we just get started? So this is the first one here. This is regular drip coffee. Has nice little steam going. Handle for the mug. It's all just nice steam. So I want you to know that the kind of person that would want drip coffee is twofold. One is the kind of person who is like a really coffee fanatic. So they'll order drip coffee just to get a feel as to how we roast the coffee beans and what kind of coffee beans that we end up using. I know that you have us completely over roast our coffee beans just to make sure that they all taste the same, but it ends up being kind of bad for the people that like the taste of coffee. Thankfully, most people that come to our store don't like the taste of coffee, so it's not a problem. The second person that really orders this, some people would call it an Americano as well. The other type of person that would order this kind of drink is sort of the fitness person, the person that needs their caffeine but doesn't want to add on any calories, right? They're min-maxing calories, and they're like, no, I can't afford a drop of creamer or a little bit of sugar or anything fun in a drink. We can't have that. So that is the first option. And then second option here, this is, of course, iced coffee. Now, this is sort of a general catch-all term. A lot of drinks come iced, but just iced coffee, cold brew, or like an iced latte. This all sort of forms in this. It's presented in the same way, a drink in a cup with a little bit of ice and a nice little straw. Now this is, of course, it used to be just sort of for the hot days, right? But it's sort of gotten a reputation of its own. It is for the girls, the gays, the theys, and everybody in the LGBTQ spectrum. I would say that, unfortunately, it has gotten that, and I know how much you hate those kinds of people. Unfortunately, me and a lot of people that work here are a part of that a part of the LGBTQ, but you know what? You just don't have to think about it. Just don't think about it. So, I would say you should keep this drink for sure, but we are the ones that are ordering it. We are the ones that are drinking it. Although not from this store. We don't come to this store, but we do serve it in this store. But what was I saying? I was saying that this particular drink is very good to attract those kinds of people, maybe the kinds of people that aren't really thinking too hard about where they spend their money and what companies they want to support. But you know what? It's okay, because people have lives and they don't have time to research everything. So if they are spending time and money in a place that just they don't support necessarily morally, then that's good, because we can just distract them. So next we have, this is what I like to call the coffee for old-time drinkers. So what do I mean by that? This is your espressos, your cappuccinos, your those kinds of drinks that most people would not order unless they felt like they needed to be just a teensy bit fancy, right? It comes in a sort of circular mug, sort of a spherical, half spherical circular mug. It's pretty steamy. It has milk in it. It's sort of like if you want a latte, but you are too embarrassed to order a latte because for some reason it's just not fancy enough for you. So this is definitely the drink for those kinds of people. And then next, of course, we do offer a sort of like boba option. Boba is very popular. I know the previous CEO really wanted to jump on the trend, the quote unquote trend of boba. Of course, it does come from a different culture, and we don't do it as well as them. But it is a really good option so that people just feel. It's really for people who want to feel like they're being worldly, without actually being worldly and going to places that serve it, who just do a much better job at it, to be honest. But you don't have to know that, because you may be the new CEO, but you don't even drink our coffee. You're drinking coffee right now. It's not from our store. Yeah. That's what I thought. Okay. So this is boba. Of course, we have a few different flavors for boba. But yes, that's the kind of person that would be drinking it. Obviously, boba is a very popular drink. And if this were another store, I would say a completely different person would order this kind of drink. And then over here, this is... You might not be able to see this, but this over here is a very small drink, and it's just hot water. Yeah, this is for people who were really into Samurai Jack when they were younger, and they would remember the one scene where, if you don't know, Samurai Jack is a cartoon. He's a samurai, obviously, but he would go into taverns, or whatever the equivalent of a tavern was, and he would get just hot water, right? And then people get mad at him for some reason, and then he'd have to kill them or something. But what people really fell in love with that scene. I know you don't know sort of what the lingo is nowadays, but Samurai Jack is really in the popular consciousness. Yeah, absolutely. So this next one here, unfortunately, this one is like the catch-all for, here, let me show you. This one right here is sort of a catch-all for the Frappuccino-esque drink, right? The like very desserty drinks, right? And I say unfortunately because it has a really bad connotation. They're very fun. They taste amazing. And it's just a dessert in a cup, right? Like it's so good. But unfortunately, it has a really bad reputation of like, you have like the coffee snobs that would order this making fun of this drink, right? So when we serve both of these at the same time, there kind of tends to be a little bit of a clash, right? They sort of look at it and they're like, this is not a real coffee place. This is a place that doesn't deserve the reputation and doesn't preserve the sanctity of coffee. You know, they're very they're mirroring a lot of talking points that people used to say back when they wanted to like, do things that might not be good, is what I'm trying to say. So, but if you have my opinion, this is a very, very good drink. The people who drink it tend to be very fun, tend to just be easygoing, and tend to come just because they want a sweet treat. This one over here, this is now, we're heading into drinks that I think we should be adding, right? So I think this one over here is one that I heard from the grapevine. People are complaining. This is half a skull broken in half with the brain being turned into sort of like a nice coffee beverage. With a nice little straw coming out of it. So the reason why this is an option is for the zombie folk among us. Zombies are really an underrepresented group within our communities, and I know you have a hiring freeze against zombies because you think that just because their arms fall off every now and then when they're working the machines and they're cleaning up and they're closing for the night, that doesn't mean that we can't serve. They have money, right? You as a CEO should know that if there is money to be made, you should capitalize on that. And obviously, don't pay your workers. You know, if you're going to get a lot of money out of this, you as a CEO are not going to want to pay the workers, and I totally understand that. So I'm just saying, it's a market to sort of tap into. Okay, now this next one over here, this one is a little bit interesting. It's a soul on a plate. And you drink it, and it starts shrinking until it goes away. And now this, I think, is an idea that I came up with in particular because I wanted to show you that resources are not scarce, right? Everyone talks about global warming. Everyone talks about, how we're killing the environment, how the things are melting, and how we're destroying everything. But we have an abundance of, what do we have an abundance of here? We have an abundance of death. Right? We're very frivolous about death. And if we can harness souls, I bet they taste tasty, right? I mean, you wouldn't know, but, I've had a few souls now and then, and I would say that they're a little bit tasty. So this is definitely an option if we wanted to go the route. I know, it's a little bit gauche, right? It's a little bit gauche because now they're like, oh, is your company struggling? You have to resort to like souls as your ingredient. But to be honest, I think that if we play this right, we can have a beautiful marriage of wonderfully over-roasted and terrible coffee mixed with the souls of the unwilling. So next we have this drink here. This is a drink sort of made from the entire knowledge of the universe. It's all packed into this makeshift book, and then this sort of bookmark acts as the little straw. Here, let me show you. So this is the little book. It sort of has a little stand. It's built with a stand on it. And then this right here, that's what the straw is. It's the bookmark, but it's also the straw. So this is for the smarty pants of the world, right? These are for the people that are really smart or who who really want to have like a photographic memory, like in movies and TV shows, and they're like, I have a photographic memory, and that means that I can think of anything that I've ever seen ever in my life. This is how you can actually get that. And of course, this is a new idea that I'm bringing to you. The science, of course, is a little bit dodgy, but I did hear about an herbal remedy that does help with that. And everybody knows that if you drink an herbal remedy, it will give you akin to like sort of superpowers, right? So this is definitely an option for that. And then next, this one over here, this is a test tube. I was just thinking that it was really, when I look at, and I'm creating all of these drinks and fulfilling people's orders day in and day out, something that really bothers me is the type of cup that we give them. We give them very similar cups. This really should be an option, right? It's very close, and it'll make people feel a little bit fancy, right? It'll make them feel a little bit like they're alchemists, right? And of course, we can create sort of little reactions that will happen when they drink. We'll have everybody sign a waiver that says, if your face gets blown off, if you die, if you lose your eyesight, if your teeth fall out, all that can just be written away for the bit, right? For the bit of drinking out of like a flat, like a laboratory utensil. Is that correct? Utensil? As you know, I am not. I don't work in a laboratory. I work here. Okay, next. These are this is going to be for people who really, really, really like parties and for children. And what I mean by that is, why don't we mix coffee with helium? We already put it in balloons. If we present a balloon for people to raise the pitch of their voice and get a little bit of kick of caffeine, I mean, that would be the best of both worlds for many people. Think of a Broadway singer that needs her cup of coffee before she goes and sings in the opera, right? I guess I understand that Broadway and opera are two different things, but in this scenario, imagine that she has both, right? And so that's why she needs coffee, because she needs to be bouncing back and forth. And this is the only drink that's going to get, it's a small niche, but that niche could really be useful for us, right? So I think this is really going to be useful for us. And of course for kids, right? I know that there's a lot of parents that don't particularly love the idea of giving their children caffeine, but have you seen how many children come to our store? It's unreal. Caffeine is already with the children, And to be honest, if it's between caffeine and vaping, I'd rather them be caffeinated. So why don't we give this to them? Let them have fun, right, with the helium, while also getting the necessary caffeine so that they can become addicted and give us more money as they grow older. It's definitely not morally reprehensible at all. So next, of course, we have this. This drink is the anti-gravity drink. This is really interesting because I personally have been working on a little bit of an anti-gravity field just in my spare time. I take it, bits and bobs and ends and just put it together in my spare time, and the few hours I get in between work shifts. You do you end up having me close and you have me open, and you have me stay around and train people, and I'm definitely not overworked, by the way. But what's going to be interesting about this particular drink is that because it's anti-gravity, it's going to be floating all over the place, and people are going to have a really fun time biting chunks out of their liquid, out of their caffeine drink. And so what's going to be really fun about that is that it becomes an experience, right? I think that this is going to really appeal to people who want to elevate, right? If we open up a different store, same brand, same name, but just sort of give it more of a speakeasy vibe, right? And then we can go over here and bring this drink into it, and then you will get all the people that want to feel exclusive. They want to feel like they're experiencing something that no one else is going to ever experience again, and the reason why they're experiencing it is because they have money. And of course, we all know that the actual reason why they're experiencing it is because we want them to experience it, and anybody can experience it so long as they have a teeny bit of money. Okay, and then this next one here. This one is a little bit interesting. I was thinking, we use ice already in all of our drinks. So why don't we take ice, put it as the main drink? It's brilliant. We already have all the materials to make ice, and this center part here, what if we took all of the pits from stone fruit, like peaches or avocado, like an avocado pit, and we put them in there to give it a little bit of flavor. And just, obviously it's going to be caffeine, right? And so what's going to happen is that people are going to be licking it. They're going to be having this like sort of melting ice to cool off, to serve the original purpose of the ice drink. And then just have like a really nice time cooling off, right? And what's really good about it is that we can give them, this could be to share, right? If we make this big enough, if we get a big ice cube with the pit inside, we can have a bunch of people licking the same ice cube, and it's just like, that's just a fun time. Next here we have the stack of doubloons, a stack of coins, of course with a little straw coming out of it, so that you can drink your drink pretty properly, and the straws just sort of suck up into the straw. Sorry, the coin sucks up into the straw and just goes in. It's nice and yummy. And this is obviously for the 1%ers, the billionaires, the capitalists, you actually. So if you really wanted a drink, we would obviously recommend this for you, and it would be so that like every time you get a hit of a doubloon, it's akin. It'll give you the same feeling as when the stock goes up, right? Or when you've made 1 million workers suffer under your exploitation. That same kind of serotonin, yeah. So there's that, of course. The next one over here, this one is a little tiny one. It's just a little bit of a jelly puree sort of situation. I was kind of wondering, we don't really make use of jellies and purees here very often, and if we just handed someone a little bit of a jelly and they just go, and they just like, just eat it, I think that would be really wonderful, and something that would be very quick. People can get their shot in of caffeine, and it really wouldn't be a problem at all for anybody. Of course, unless of course you don't like the texture, but if you don't like the texture of something, you can just complain about it and not have it, as I do. So over here, this one right here is an old-timey sort of medieval candle. What's interesting about this is I'm thinking if we put a little bit of caffeine in wax and light a candle, it will melt the wax, right? And as that wax is melted, that's when you can drink your drink. It's really hot. It coats your esophagus, creates a nice protective layer, and that way the coffee can then soak into every part of you because it'll be in the wax, right? So I think this is a very good option, particularly for people that want to start sticking things in their throat that might not be good for them. Not like that. So that's what that is. Next, of course, we have this drink. This, of course, is just a sort of representation of what I think the drink is going to be like. It is, of course, a foot with a straw coming out of it. It is an actual real person's foot that I'm suggesting. This is for the... Okay, listen to me, Mr. CEO. I am going to tell you something, and I think you need to hear it. It can be a little bit work inappropriate, but you need to understand that people have fetishes, right? And just because a person has a fetish doesn't mean that you can't exploit that and make money off of it. And this is for the foot fetishists, right? They love feet. You may as well give into it. They don't have to hide in the, dregs of society, bring them out. Say, hey, you can spend your money here. Yes, it will make other people uncomfortable, but, that's just the kind of establishment that we already run. So, you could put anything you want here. If people are really into, I didn't think this through very hard, but I think the foot sort of gets the idea across. Here, let me show this to you properly. I think it was out of frame. Out of the frames of your glasses, of course. So this is the foot drink. Now this over here, I was thinking, have you gotten into GMOs and sort of genetically modifying our crops to just produce caffeine on their own? Because I think that if you do that, then we could have a whole agricultural setup to offer. We could have a produce section, that just has caffeine in it. And that's a whole untouched market, right? Think of all of the people, all of like the almond moms, all of the people that are really, really wanting to be healthy. And so they're not having coffee, and we can trick them into having caffeine with this. Next, of course, we do have here, this looks kind of a little bit like an instrument, like a harp, and it is a harp. That's, just because it is a harp. What this is going to be, and this, of course, is something that I did read. I did read something about it. It was in my horoscope, so I do think that it is true, that music is going to be the next big thing that will wake people up aside from caffeine. So I'm thinking, what if we started offering a sort of a personalized drink, but the drink is music, right? Wouldn't that be interesting? And wouldn't that really wake people up? I know that we already use alarms, right? Alarms are sort of a way to wake people up and keep them awake. It doesn't feel very good. But what if we did something like that? What if, as a barista, you have to be able to play the harp in a concert level way? And next, and the last one over here, this one is, of course, just a little tiny birthday cake that is a drink, in fact. As soon as you see it, you start to realize just how much it isn't your birthday. And so it makes you sad. It hits you with that sadness. And because of that sadness, the sadness will react with the cake and turn into your coffee drink that will then give you the serotonin that you then need for your day, right? It's sort of creating a problem and then solving it for you. This last one over here. So of these, which one do you think we should add to our store? Which one do you think we want to get rid of? Maybe you want to get rid of one of those, add some of these in there. I honestly think that this is a very, very good option and really, really good for us to talk about and think about as the new CEO so that we can then move forward and really serve our community. Yeah, absolutely. Here, let's get you a look at each row. Okay. You want me to send that over to you? Yeah, I can totally do that. So you can go over with the board. Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, and I can totally give you my employee ID and whatever it is that you need. And rest assured, there will be no more unions from me. I definitely just don't come to the store tomorrow at 6. Definitely don't have anything set up for that time. Yeah. Okay. Well, all right then. If you have no more questions for me. Okay, then, well, I'll just get back to work because, I've already been here 12 hours, but I think I can go for another 12 more. Okay, then.